my sister is the best and she deserves the best. And I was keeping it 100 with these fools.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. It's time to get a little Fronky up in here. This is Let Me Be Fronk.
It's time to get funky. We're all getting funky. It's time for Alyssa Fronk. Alyssa Fronk.
Hello, welcome back to Let Me Be Fronk, a pod show hosted by me, Alyssa Fronk, where I introduce you to creatives, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and exceptional people who deserve to be known and celebrated. This is a very special edition of Let Me Be Fronk. Not only is this the first virtual interview I have attempted to conduct, hold for applause, but this episode, you will meet the VIP of all VIP guests of the show. The audience has demanded her presence, so I won't keep you all from knowing this icon any longer. She is a New York-born turned Southern Belle transplant, currently living in North Carolina, raising her perfect 6-month-old baby and 3 puppas with her gem of a husband, working as an assistant property manager and a full-time assistant to the CEO of Let Me Be Fronk. She's the former 2007 Junior Dog Handler of the Year, decorated hula hoop champion, 2010 freshman homecoming princess, former Ashley High School varsity cheerleading captain, winner of the 2014 Most Outgoing Superlative, a founding member of UNC Charlotte's Alpha Chi Omega chapter, gallbladder survivor, and retired thought. Some of her other achievements include being a 3-push legend, an angel, and 1/3 of the apple of her grandfather's eye. When she is not busy juggling her many responsibilities as a devoted mother, wife, sister, and friend, you can find her pursuing her passions of online shopping, traveling in first class, of course, binging Housewives, reading, playing little games on her phone, and crying to Billie Eilish. She is the funniest, most fun, heart of gold blonde you'll ever meet. Biases aside, she's an incredibly hard worker, thoughtful, generous, at times scary, and the best person I will ever know. Please welcome to Let Me Be Fronk, the other Fronk, my sister, JONNA Fronk Smith.
Hello, sister.
Fronk sisters in the house.
Fronk girls, that's where it's at.
Forever and ever. You're basically a founding member of the show, too. I should have added that to your bio.
Basically.
You are my creative consultant for a lot of things.
That does fall under my umbrella of specialties.
Yes, and that does fall under your most, dare I say, your most treasured role of being an assistant to me.
Alyssa Jean, there is nothing greater. There's no bigger honor than being your assistant.
And sister, I could never do this without you. And I am happy to return the assistant favors when I can. First things first, I want to go ahead and give the audience a heads up. We're freaking weird, and we have a specific sister lexicon. First things first, we say sister as many times as possible within a sentence. It is a deranged habit, but it makes us giggle and laugh, and it bonds us, and it just reaffirms our sisterhood. So if you're already annoyed, just go ahead and turn this show off. You're going to hate us. But we constantly call each other sister, and then we have a slew of nicknames for each other. Primarily, I like to refer to Jonna as Juicy. She's also Parmigiana. She's Jonna Blonde. Our youngest brother, Evan, has dubbed her Drama Blonde, which I think is also a hilarious nickname. Just bear with us. You'll catch on to the sister lexicon. And Jonna, would you like to share with the audience some of the nicknames you refer to me by?
There's, just so many. There's Alyssa Jean, Lissa Pie, Litza.
That's a deep cut. It's been a while.
What are some of your other ones I've given you?
Alyssa, did you say Alyssa Pie?
Yeah.
Okay. When Jonna sends gifts or mail to my house, she always puts Alyssa Pie as the recipient.
So it's from me. It's just
I always
instant.
know. Sister, I am so honored, flattered, happy for you to be here. I have been looking forward to this ever since I started the show. But you're a very busy woman, and you're in demand these days. And you are kept on a tight leash by your manager, Jett Easton Smith.
I am. I am so glad he let me have the night off. He
Thank
let
God.
his other coworker, JonMark, step in and taking the reins for the night shift tonight. So,
Well, shout out to the Smith boys. Thank you for holding it down so us sisters can giggle and gab for once, as if we don't do this every single day. Let me just say, I talk to my sister Jonna every single day. Aside from being family and related, we are truly best friends. You are my favorite person in the world. I talk to you the most. We do sadly live apart these days in different states, so I don't get to see you physically as much as I would love to. But we make up for it when we're together and we FaceTime a lot. So I do see you daily.
I feel like we even see each other more than people that we live in the same city with.
I agree with that. I will say I do kind of put the burden of traveling on my back. You know, I'm the childless one, I'm the single one, I'm the more freewheeling one. So I have more of a flexibility to commute to North Carolina, and thank God that flight is easy breezy beautiful cover girl, an hour and 30 minutes. Otherwise you would not be seeing me that much. But luckily it's easy to get there and I always have a place to stay. So right now I see you, I would say like quarterly is the cadence.
Yeah, I would say probably quarterly right now. And, you know, I used to at least travel there like twice a year, but
You
now,
did.
you know.
I don't want to throw my sister under the bus, but before motherhood, before she had a baby, she did come to New York pretty frequently. By far the most of any friend or family member. Like, you would come here quarterly, and I do appreciate that. And one day you'll be able to get back to that.
I can't wait. I miss it. I miss my little New York trips. But to be fair, sister, you have a whole bedroom.
Do you mean to be frank?
To be frank, you have a whole bedroom at my house.
I do.
I don't even have a toothbrush at your place.
I'll get you one. I just upgraded to a king bed so we can comfortably sleep together. But yeah, I do have my own auntie suite and your house like I should. Let's be real. And I don't mind coming down there. I mean, yeah, I'm poking fun, like the burden's on me, but don't get me wrong, I love a little suburban getaway. Jonna lives in our hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina, where we grew up and went to high school, all that. And I like visiting Wilmington a lot more these days. I have friends there, a lot of our family is there, and my one true love, Port City Java, shout out, the best coffee shop in the nation is there.
Can I get a Carmelo Leche?
Don't you know, sister? Okay, this is my order. If you're in the Wilmington, North Carolina area, let me put you on. You are going to go to Port City Java and you're going to order an iced 16-ounce iced Carmelo Leche. I said iced twice, whatever. Sub salted caramel, sub skim milk, extra shot light caramel drizzle. Thank me later.
Or if you have a dairy allergy or vegan, you can get oatmeal like your girl.
Not oatmeal.
Did I say oatmeal?
Someone's got baby food on the mind.
Let me try that again. And you know, if you have a dairy allergy, you can always sub and get oat milk, not to be mistaken with oatmeal.
Yes. Thank you for the clarification, sister. So, aside from the obvious, Jonna and I are sisters. We are, just to catch you up, our dynamic is we're 2 years apart. I'm the older sister, obviously. I was born in 94. She was born in 96. We do share the same birthday month. We are both January girls. I am January 27th, an Aquarius, and Jonna is January 14th, a Capricorn, if you couldn't tell by that long rap sheet of all the stuff she has done. She is a Capricorn through and through. But sister, I really wanted to start off by opening up the floor to you and letting you tell the audience about our origin story, our connection, our childhood, our sisterhood. So even though this will be hard for me, because you might roast me, take it away.
Alyssa and I were born to a cozy house and it all started when two Pisces met at a bowling alley. One
So true.
was throwing her arms around, not a care in the world, knocking over this man's beer. Next thing you know, they fall in love. Our dad's got 2 new kids. Next thing you know, he's building my mom her dream house with his bare hands. And then Alyssa comes along. And then my mom gets pregnant with me. And unfortunately, our dad did pass away while she was carrying me. And then I was named after him. He was Jonathan, aka John. That's how I got my name, Jonna. And Alyssa and I started out, as a love story. Alyssa was just so happy to have a sister. And her sister was just so happy to be around her. I just wanted to do everything my sister did and hang out with her. And then, things started changing. We did grow up on Rugrats, and there is a character named Angelica. Alyssa did resemble Angelica a lot as a child. She would just be this perfect little angel to the grown-ups, and then she would always be conning me into do her dirty work, into sabotaging me. To give you an example, our mom was a frugal girl, and she liked to go to the consignment shop. She was a single woman. Alyssa hated them back in the day. Now she's a thrifting queen. And my mom pulls out this ugliest plaid dress. And one thing about me, I've always been into my clothes. I was not going to wear something ugly. I wanted to look fashionable, whatever I thought it was at the time. And let me tell you, that dress was not it. That was a pilgrim dress. It had this scalloped white collar, picnic table fabric, and buttons all the way down it. And my mom pulls it out, and she goes, "Jonna, isn't this so beautiful?" And I said, "Ew, that is so ugly." And she's like, "No, it's not. It's not ugly." And she goes, "Alyssa, what do you think?" And Alyssa looks at me, and she gives me this smile, and she goes, "Mom, I think it would look so beautiful on Jonna." Next thing you know, I'm stuck wearing that dress to my 3rd grade school pictures.
And if you're tuning in, we will be posting a picture of this on the Let Me Be Fronk YouTube edition of this episode. Thank you. And that's also Jonna's favorite sister trauma story to tell anytime she needs to villainize me. But no, she's right. I was a brat.com. But what else is an older sister supposed to do? It built character. It built resilience. It made you tough and strong. Made you extra witty. And honestly, you can hold your own.
I can. The tables turned when we got a little older, and it was on.
So Jonna and I are one of 6 children in our family. My mom had 6 kids. Her first 2 were from her first marriage. So we have an older brother and sister. And then she married our dad, had me, and was pregnant with Jonna when he unfortunately passed away. And then she eventually went on to remarry another man, had our younger 2 brothers. I love all my siblings. I refer to them all as my siblings, but technically Jonna is my only full-blooded sibling. We share the same last name. So I just wanted to give some context.
We're the only Fronks. We definitely act like Fronks.
Yes.
Shout out to the OG Fronk, Marjorie. Love you, gal.
Miss you. Jonna, would you like to explain what is being a Fronk like?
So I feel like Alyssa embodies a Fronk 100%. She definitely embraces that side, and I do too. And we basically come from this strong matriarchy formed by our grandma, Marjorie Fronk. This woman had seen it all. Forged in the Great Depression. She went to the war so she could be independent. She ended up meeting a man, had some kids. Was it love? He did end up passing, and then she said she never wanted to marry again. And this woman lived out her dreams, being a mom, being creative. She was an artiste. We have some beautiful pieces that she made, and she just always showed us like how to be this creative, intelligent, strong woman, could carry their own and not afraid to chase your dreams, not afraid to keep growing and learning and becoming educated. And she was loved by so many.
She was. Grandma Marjorie Fronk was an icon. She lived to 97 and a half. She unfortunately passed away in 2013, but we were so lucky to have her in our lives for so long considering her age. And I really credit Grandma Fronk to a lot of who I am as a person today. So fun fact about her, she was born, I believe, in 1915. During that time, women didn't have as many options and paths to pursue. She wanted to be a journalist, and her parents said, no, that's not like a proper profession. You can be a nurse or you can be a teacher. And she said, neither. And she joined the reserves and left, where she ultimately met her husband and fell in love and they got married and went on to have 3 kids. Our father, Jonathan, was the youngest. But then once he unfortunately passed away, she swore off men. She never wanted to be married again. She just wanted to do her own thing, be Miss Independent. And in her 70s, she discovered that she had a talent for painting. And she went on to be an exceptional watercolor painter, traveled the world going to art shows. She had stuff in galleries. She had art friends. She painted all the time. We used to go over to her house as little girls and watercolor paint with her. And those were some of our favorite memories. I think we've talked about this before. I don't want to speak for you, but it was very fond memories for myself, just sitting at Grandma Fronk's house, watercolor painting together. I'm very thankful for my Grandma Fronk and her just looking out for us and trying to keep us connected to our dad, and we miss her a lot.
We have so much to be thankful for from her. She really planned for us and planned for our future and set us up for success in so many ways. And like Alyssa said, we had so much fun, you know, painting and crafting. She was the queen of girl dinner. You know, you could eat a piece of cake, a jar of olives, drink a ginger ale, just whatever.
Such a good call. She really invented girl dinner.
She did.
She was a pioneer.
She was a pioneer. She liked color. She liked fun times, traveling. Like she wasn't tied down to one thing. And
no.
Also, I feel like my love for reading, that can also be tied down to that. She always had a rocking chair and a basket full of books for us to read. She also had this swing that I love. I love a cozy swing. Any egg chairs, any of that just always reminds me of being at her place.
She was great. So to sum it up, to be a Fronk is very independent, very creative, very social, lovers of art, lover of culture and traveling. And I am very Fronk-like in that way, like to juxtapose both sides of our family. Mom's side, the Townsends, like very, very hard workers. Not saying the Fronks weren't, but extremely hard workers. Very blue collar, more humble, but people of community, people who stayed in their hometowns for a long time and really just like built a village and worked hard. And I appreciate both sides.
I would have to say too, our mother's side is a little more like likes to throw down, and you know, they worked hard but also partied hard, had a good sense of humor. Her dad was always the life of the party. So you can definitely see both of those aspects play out in our genetics.
We do have to shout out Grandpa Bob, because anytime we're in Western New York, where most of our family still lives, they have said to me, oh, you have your grandfather's spirit. And Grandpa Bob was a clown.com, and he loved to dress up. I also love to dress up and wear costumes. That was his thing. And I definitely inherited that from him. So yeah, good call. Mom's side of the family, they love a party. They love a good time. They're much more boisterous and funny. Dare I say, both sides coming together made perfection.
Perfection. Mwah.
So sister, who the hell is JONNA Juicy Fronk Smith? Give the audience a little insight to who you are and what you're about.
Sister, that's a great question. I feel like right now I'm in my caterpillar cocoon stage, trying to just
Same.
figure out this new chapter in my life. You know, before I held a lot of my identity in my work and working hard and having a big social life and being surrounded by my friends, and now I'm in kind of like my cozy home stage and just figuring out this new chapter of being a mom and raising a child and being a wife. And you do change a lot. You know, your body physically changes when you become pregnant. It changes after. And so I'm trying to get some of my personality back, trying to get myself hobbies and things. But like at the end of the day, like the true like core of me is a person who loves to be around people, loves to be surrounded by my friends and family. I have so many great people who also pour into me, and I love experiences, just going out, going to a concert, traveling, doing whatever I can to try something new. And recently we just moved back to my hometown. I've been living in a little town right outside of Charlotte called Belmont, and we just changed and uprooted our lives. My husband got a new job and now he gets to be home more with the family. That's been really great. But now we're building a new life in a new place and rediscovering it and trying to see new places to go eat at and activities to do. And I love being at the beach, so we're happy that now we get to raise a little beach baby and be close to the water.
Yes. So this little sister of mine has followed in my footsteps a lot in life. And one of those was also attending UNC Charlotte. So again, I'm 2 years older than her. I went there first. Jonna came to UNC Charlotte as well, pursued her own major. And ultimately, I'm really glad we went to college together because it was fun. We didn't see each other a ton, but when we wanted to hang out and if you needed something or I needed something, we were there. So earlier, Jonna mentioned that I was a terror of an older sister. I won't fully disagree with that. In our very early days, I was obsessed with her. She was a real life baby doll, and I loved helping my mom take care of her. I just wanted to be a little mom. And then, you know, when we hit, I would say maybe like 5, 6, 7, we really started to butt heads and fight a lot because in my perspective, she was just an annoying little ass sister who wanted to do everything I wanted to do, and she wanted to copy me. And I was just like, why doesn't this girl have an original bone in her body? Like, get a new personality, bitch. Like, stop trying to be me. So I was pretty mean to her. And sister, on record, publicly, I would like to humble myself and apologize. We did still play together a lot, but we fought a ton from like kindergarten, elementary school up until I left for college. Like, we did not get along 90% of the time.
I think it was so hard being so close in age because we were just kind of always just lumped together. We were the Fronk sisters. We did this. So I think you were yearning to get your own identity and personality, which do not blame you. And then we were given joint birthday parties for so long because we both had January birthdays. And because we were 2 years apart, you know, we did have some friends overlap. Sometimes we'd have a friend that was in the grade in between us, and then it just kind of was a competition with that. And
yeah, we fought over friends. Yeah, we were constantly just like put together, and that made things tough because you're so perceptive and right. I just desperately wanted to be my own person, and I wanted to be special in my own right and not always regarded as a duo.
I completely get that now as sister. And then I think once you got to high school, you kind of got a little bit of a taste of that you were in a separate school doing like your own separate things. And then I was still at private school. That's, you know, when things got real fun, when her sister joined her at public school.
Let me tell y'all something. Okay, so Jonna's absolutely right. Those first 2 years when I was a solo high schooler were great. I was spreading my wings. I was trying to find out what kind of teenager I wanted to be. That was my first time out of private school. So big change, big adjustment. I get into my junior year. Jonna comes in as a freshman. This girl goes from ugly duckling to beautiful swan literally overnight. Like, hideous troll to Cinderella princess.
Hideous troll? Tell me how you really feel.
You didn't brush your hair or brush your teeth, and you know that.
I did. I just had terrible acne, and then it went away.
You had terrible hygiene in middle school, and you know it, and quit denying it.
Not in middle school. I did take care of myself in middle school.
She got better as she aged, but she was a child, so give her some grace, folks.
I also, you know, had to wear a uniform. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. We had very strict rules with what we were allowed to do and not do until high school. So, like, to us, like, high school was always pitched as being such a special thing. Like, you're finally going to go to public school. You're going to get these new freedoms and
meet new people. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, this girl comes to high school. She is literally the talk of the town. Every boy is horny with a capital H for her. Everyone wants her to be their girlfriend. And all I heard from junior year on, every boy, "You're Jonna Frunk's sister? You look nothing alike. She's so beautiful." So you're calling me hideous to my face. Why can't we just both coexist as beautiful young ladies together? But I get it. She was like the blonde hair, blue-eyed, tan, skinny, preppy cheerleader girl. I get it. I get the appeal. And she was a little more outgoing and bubbly than me at that time. I was a little more reserved and inward. But I still had a sparkling personality. Don't get it twisted. Everyone wanted to date her, including all the boys in my grade, and they would only talk to me to try to get to my sister. So yeah, I was put through it, and I felt like I didn't have any real male friendships anymore. I felt like everyone was just trying to get to my sister, and I just think about the dynamics of that. I'm the older one, and everyone thinks I'm a hideous troll now. Kind of fucked up of them, honestly. But I hate that it kind of pitted us against each other because it brought out some insecurities in me. But, I mean, we were teenage girls. What do you expect? It's not a recipe for success.
I think that definitely pitted us against each other. Just growing up with somebody that's, you know, the same gender, so close in age, and kind of going through the same milestones, pretty similar to each other, that we were always compared. And so I think that automatically did give us this competition, and some competition is healthy and good, but you shouldn't have to feel like you have to compete with your sibling. You should be able to just be who you are and be accepted at that, and understand we still had our separate things. And Alyssa, you know, was a good writer, and she was in yearbook, and she continued to play tennis in high school. I stopped playing tennis and then just did cheerleading and soccer. We did still play soccer together, which I know that was probably frustrating for you as well.
Yeah, of course. But it was fine. Like, whatever. It's all funny, LOL, looking back on it now, like cute memories, whatever. But you've always been the most consistent thing in my life. And it's such a special relationship now. We've truly done a 180. It's beautifully blossomed. And the secret to that was getting some fucking distance from each other for once. Once I went to college and Jonna was left at home, it created room for us to appreciate and miss each other. So I would say about halfway into my first semester in college, we actually started to like talk on the phone, and you would call me, and I actually felt really bad. You would call me crying and be like, I miss you so much. Like, this is hard without you. And then I started to appreciate you more because you were also my connection to what was going back at home and filling me in on everything. And then when you eventually moved to Charlotte and we started to hang out, I was actually like excited to see my sister and hang out with her. And then from then on, we've just have grown closer, and have really worked hard on establishing a healthy and strong relationship. And, you know, I'm not tempting any forces beyond my control or any people, but like, knock on wood, like our sisterhood is literally unbreakable. Like you cannot pit us against each other anymore. We've already been there.
That's so true. And like when we finally got to college, I think the campus was big enough. Charlotte was big enough for the two of us.
It really
and
was.
Thank God I had Alyssa there, because there would be nights that I would be so busy and she'd be like, Jonna, have you ate? Like, and I'd be like, no, I haven't ate today. And she would come bring me food and like come talk to me, or be, I'll come pick you up, because, you know, by the time I was a freshman, she was a junior. She had better parking. She had better living. I was stuck in a little shoebox and had to walk miles just to go get my car or do this. So it was really nice because we had our own little separate life, but could come together when we needed each other or needed, you know, just some family or community. And that's when things really got fun.
Totally.
Our mom our whole life would always say, you two are supposed to be best friends. God has given you each other. Sisters are the best thing in life. I wish I had a sister. And we'd always be like, oh my God,
she would say this once a day, every time we fought, and we'd be like,
we'd be like,
eyes,
stop.
being like, I'd literally be like, she's not my friend. I literally hate her. I don't want to be her friend. We are sisters. We are not friends. We are family, not friends. I was so adamant that we were never going to get along. But LOL, look at us now, obsessed with each other, BFFs. And I'm not going to start drama, but I'm going to say the family's jealous at times of our closeness.
Don't hate us.
They wish.
They ain't us.
They wish they had a sisterhood like ours. But we built this from the ground up, baby. We worked hard. We went through hell and back. And now we're here.
And you know what? With that dynamic, we are both directly the middle to the sandwich of the siblings. I'm the youngest girl, but we are both the middle children.
Right, because again, there's 6 of us.
We have kind of been, you know, this glue in a sense to our family.
We really are the glue that keeps everyone together.
I mean, nobody does any family planning. There
Like
would
us.
not be a holiday. There would not be a vacation.
And that's no shade to disrespect to any members of our family. We have many, many, many members of our family. And that is, we are not throwing shade, but we are the backbone. We are the planners. We are the peacekeepers. And we're the glue. And you know what? Don't hate us. Just celebrate our existence, okay?
And because of the age differences too, I think that is why we ended up being like that. Because, our brothers were so young that what were they going to plan? Like a trip to McDonald's? Like a trip to Chuck E.
Not
Cheese?
even. Are you kidding me? When we're together, have they ever paid for a meal at McDonald's?
I didn't say pay. I said plan. They would scheme their way to get where they wanted to.
Those brats. That's for another episode.
They'd
we
steal
love
a
them,
golf
but
cart and be going.
there is a plethora of stories to be told, shared, and teeheed. I really genuinely can't tell if the audience is going to be bored to tears by our family dynamic or whatnot. But like you said, sister, you're a new mom. Tell us all about it.
So, let me tell you. You see all these things about being pregnant and becoming a mom, and you're gonna really like step into this like feminine energy and just feel so womanly and beautiful. And let me tell you, pregnancy and motherhood has been one of the most humbling experiences I have ever had. It has also been one of the best and life-changing. It's crazy to think that me and some guy met because he slid up in my DMs, and the next thing you know, now we have this little human being that is a piece of him and a piece of me.
And a piece of me.
He is. If you want to get into the technical scientific terms, he literally has your DNA in him.
I know.
Every
beautiful.
pregnancy that a mother has, whoever they've carried before them, the DNA is left. And then when a new baby comes, they have parts of that DNA. So because you're my older sister, I had parts of your DNA in me, not just because we shared a mother and a father. Like, you had parts of you in me, and now I've had Jett, so now he has parts of you in him.
And that is so beautiful. I could cry. That's
why.
Yeah, Jonna's a new mom, first time mom. She welcomed her first son, a healthy, gorgeous, stunning, perfect baby boy by the name of Jett Easton Smith, back in November. He's 6 months old, and he is already one of the joys and highlights of my life. I love being auntie list to that boy, and I have many nieces and nephews, and I love them all so much. I really love having a big family and having so many people to love. He feels extra special because he's an extension of my sister, and I think they look a lot alike, and it reminds me of our childhood and when she was a baby, and it just brings back like really sweet memories before we started fighting.
He is something else for already being 6 months old.
Yeah,
loves food.
Explain his character to the audience.
This boy has always just been like a fast growing boy. Like, I always just knew, like, he had to get here. He had to be here. And we were always just going to be playing catch up with him. Throughout my pregnancy, he was moving around. Mommy was always sick, and he was always measuring ahead, and we were like bracing ourselves for that. And then he came about a week early. He was induced. Now he's just growing so fast. He hasn't started crawling yet, but he is just always like moving a mile a minute. His feet are kicking, his arms are moving, he is thrashing around. He is babbling, and this boy likes to eat. And I can't blame him, because I do too. It's one of my joys in my life.
He's a passionate eater. Passionate.
He is. One of our family things now is basically tuning in to see Jett try new foods whenever we're going on this food journey, and it's hilarious. You would think, like, not watching a kid try a food is that interesting, but he just goes crazy.
No, we're being such a typical baby crazed family. When I tell you that they do a family FaceTime and like 6 to 8 people tune in to watch Jett try new food, and I lovingly call it Jett TV. Love it. My favorite channel. It is the time of my life because he's also so animated and has such a big personality and is very funny. Something particularly hilarious he does when he eats, he starts slapping the table like when it's really good or when he wants it to go faster, and he's just like his little baby hand It's so cute.
Just flopping everywhere. And he is a social butterfly.
He really is.
That kid wants to be where the party is, where the people are. He wants to be out and about. Do not leave him at home. Do not go without him. And you know what? This kid loves daycare. He loves socializing. He loves cracking up, making the other kids laugh. And he just thinks he's the funniest thing ever. He goes,
He really is the funniest guy ever. I mean, hello, he's an extension of us, and we're hilarious, so it makes perfect sense. His mommy is so funny. Even his daddy is so funny. Speaking of, tell us about your baby daddy.
oh, JonMark Daniel Smith. Where do I start? So, this man, he was from around the Charlotte area, you know, grew up in a small little town called Kings Mountain. And we somehow had a bunch of similar friends, ended up following each other on the socials, and we'd always like interact with each other, but nothing was ever done. And then I went on a trip to a friend's wedding, and we got all these beautiful pictures taken.
And my sister looked good.
And
She still does.
Thank you, sister. I was really thriving that summer. And I posted them, and he slid up on them. Not to be creepy, but you are fucking beautiful. And like, you know, all the girls out there kind of know that feeling when guys like DM them. They're just like, like, I don't know how this is gonna go. Like, you're usually not really like that into it, but like, I was intrigued by this man. Something always drew me in, and so we just started talking. I actually flew in to visit Alyssa on her treacherous first year of moving to New York, where if anything went wrong, it was going wrong for her.
That's an episode for a different day. But yeah, when I first moved to New York, it almost killed me those first 6 months.
And we were trying to hard rally. I was doing summer school. She was basically on her deathbed, couldn't do much. Turns out she had mono.
Jonna, we got to back up. We planned for you to come visit me to hang out in Kiki in the summer. And when Jonna flew in, I suddenly started to feel extremely ill. And it progressively got worse, like, as the hours passed. Like, alarmingly so. Turns out I had a horrible case of mono. So bad I ended up in the hospital. Story for a different day. But yeah, Jonna was essentially watching me wither away into sick oblivion.
And so during this trip, Alyssa was just like so sick, laying in her bed, sleeping. And so, you know, I was free, and we started FaceTiming, we started talking, me and JonMark, and I would always talk to people before I'd go on a date with them. I had to make sure there was conversation, there was banter. It was going to be somebody that like was worth my time.
Sister, and that was such a wise dating practice. I have to really give you credit on that.
Thank you. I ended up flying back early, and this man wanted to see me the second I got back, and I was like, whoa. You cannot pick me up from the airport, but we can go on a date. So we went on a date that night, and this man pulls up. And so I get in the elevator. I'm coming down. The elevator doors open, and there he is, and he sees me. And he just grabs me and kisses me. And you know that happens.
First time they're meeting in person.
First time
smooches
seeing
her.
Normally you'd
What
be
a
like,
psychopath.
ew, what is this? Like, don't touch me. But it was almost like the second we were around each other, it was like we had known each other forever. It was just kinetic. Like, we knew we were supposed to be with each other. It scared the crap out of me. I met this man, and we just hit it off so well.
How old were you at the time?
I was 22, and I was like, I need to make sure, like, I'm not just, like, getting too ahead of myself, and I gave this man a hard time. I did. I made him work for everything. I was a little mean, and Alyssa had never liked any man I had brought home. She hated them all. She ragged on them all.
I'm sorry, my sister is the best, and she deserves the best, and I was keeping it 100 with these fools.
And mind you, I was not with the people I should have been with. Alyssa ends up coming in. She is better. She comes in to visit, and actually,
Yes, I fly back to Charlotte like a few months later after I recover from being very sick.
and some of her friends actually meet us in Charlotte as well. And they're at our apartment. We're all hanging out, and then I end up getting sick. And so I'm sick. I am grumpy. If you have a sister, you know, sometimes you're just like me with each other and just like bickering back and forth. It's fine. If you talk to anybody else like that, they would hate you.
You're going to prison. No, like the way I talk to my sister we don't do that to each other anymore.
We don't do that anymore. But
no,
it used to be bad. You can like talk so poorly to each other and then like be fine 2 hours later and being giggling and kikiing like nothing ever happened. But we were in one of those moments where we just were bickering back and forth. I did not feel good. I was not having any of this. And then I was just being so snippy, so bitchy, if I might. And Alyssa and her friend take JonMark, and he goes and gets me like a tea, and they pull him aside. Do you want to give your input on this?
I get to Charlotte. Jonna's sick. She's being absolute bitch to JonMark. This is my first time meeting him. I've only heard great things. I come in like almost being a little bit of a hard ass, and then when I immediately assess the situation, I'm like, wait, this guy's kind of nice, and my sister is being a demon to him right now. We go to an unnamed coffee shop to get my sister some tea and us some coffee. I literally sit JonMark down, and I'm like, hey man, look, you seem like a really nice guy, and you seem to really like my sister, and do not let her walk all over you. Do not let her talk to you like that. She will never respect you, and you need to stand up for yourself. I was trying to pep him up, being like, don't let her do this to you. You're never gonna last. And he very humbly took it. He's like, no, she's just really sick. She doesn't talk to me like this ever. I really just believe she's having a hard time and she's not feeling her best. But I would never tolerate treatment like this. We're good. I really, really like your sister. She treats me super well. This is just a fluke right now. And I was like, okay, all right. Well, I'm glad we had this talk. But that was so unlike me to do something like that. I actually gave a shit about him. And I think that's when I was like, wait a second. Oh my God, this might be a really serious relationship. And then lo and behold, husband and father to my nephew now.
And you know, one thing about JonMark, he has always been a certified lover boy. He is also a Pisces man, and he was just he came in a guns a-blazing, doing all the things you hear about and bringing it all to the table. And I was just like, this is why it never worked out. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Look at us now. He ended up proposing 10, 11 months later. We ended up scheduling our wedding for a year later, but because of the COVID of it all, we got legally married, and then we had our actual wedding in 2021.
Yeah. So they bumped it back for the pandemic, which honestly was a great decision. It worked out well. They had the wedding of the century. It was one of my favorite nights of all time. The best wedding I've ever been to. One of the best nights of my life, truly. Jonna has different takes on it, but it was an exceptional wedding, and Juicy, you really outdid yourself.
I loved my wedding. I think the hard part was when you have this big thing, this big event, and I start to get this feeling now, like I love planning events, and I always want it to be this big bad thing, and Alyssa's kind of the same way, and you just put all these
extra. We're a little extra and over the top. You can say that.
You put all these hours and all these energy, months and years. Like, this ended up being over a year of planning into this. I had a great time on my wedding. One thing about me, if there is a dance floor, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be shaking it. I'm going to be drinking. I'm going to be having a good time and shaking it. And that's exactly what I did.
Former thought she's going to have a good time at her wedding. Her words, not mine.
I had the best time ever, but it went by so fast. And then you're just like... You're like, that was 2 years of planning in just a few hours. And
I was straight up depressed for maybe a month after your wedding. I took the ending of that wedding so hard. I was just like, no, it was only 5 minutes long. Like, it went by in a blur. Because I was having the time of my life, honestly.
The thing about our family is there's always going to be some craziness going on. We ended up having lightning strike a tree and crash in our yard before our rehearsal dinner. Half of the groomsmen's tux parts didn't come in, so I spent the day before the wedding riding around to different stores, getting bow ties, getting vests, getting what we needed for the rest of the wedding.
Wedding week was chaos with a capital C. Our family's really big. We're really chaotic. We're very boisterous and loud, and it's not the most organized group of people. I say that with love. We all stayed at Jonna and JonMark's house, which, asking a lot, but you know, family is family is family. Everyone was kind of a hot mess that week, and it was a lot of scrambling, running around, doing errands, trying to do stuff in time. And then the day before your rehearsal dinner, Jonna and JonMark had already moved into their house at this point, and they had this giant, beautiful, huge tree in their front yard. Lightning struck it down.
It was the day before the wedding, struck it down, and it was blocking the road to where, like, my neighbors could not leave. I'm like trying to call our tree people to get him out here. It's an emergency. My niece's dresses sequins have fallen off. I'm like hand sewing her sequins on. My older sister needs a seamstress to get her dress sewed.
She didn't get her dress tailored.
My brother Michael needed pants for the rehearsal dinner because God forbid he had his own pants to bring. It just, you know, those little crazy things.
It was a doozy of a week. However, the wedding was great. I would say, dare I say, worth all the trouble. And Jonna and JonMark threw one hell of a wedding. It was a good time. And also, can we just back up to say, Jonna and JonMark, are you kidding me? Star-crossed lover vibes. I call them JonMarka. That is their couple name. So it's Jonna, JonMark, and now Jett, and they are the Jambly instead of the FAMBLY. And I'm saying that with a B. Jambly. Do we want to give the genesis of the FAMBLY lexicon?
Our youngest brother, Evan, would always say these words and just say them in his own way. And he'd get so mad and he'd get teased and he'd be like, I hate this FAMBLY, because he would always just mispronounce words. He's still so little. And so then we always just started saying FAMBLY every time instead of family.
Our family group chat is the FAMBLY group chat. We all say FAMBLY. We've been saying FAMBLY for like well over a decade now. It was a great time, yeah. And Jonna and JonMark are a very special couple, and I'm really truly relieved, thankful, happy that my sister found such a wonderful, loving man. He's so good to you. He's such a good father. He fits great into our family. It has genuinely been more fun with him around, and we have a fun dynamic. I call him brava, and he calls me sister, and we just are giggly little fools when we get together.
Alyssa and I have such strong personalities, and we're just like going a mile a minute when we're together. And for somebody to come into that dynamic and to be able to just jump right in, jump in the chaos of the family. And it kind of just seems like he's been this missing part of our family, that he has come in and he's been able to like balance some things out and be another little connecting piece to this big family puzzle we have. And dare I say, he's become a lot of people's favorites, which is kind of offended. Like, we
Grandma Rita watching. We know you love JonMark the most.
We know you love him, and
we might as well be just a stranger on the street to our brothers now.
Just
the way chopped liver, the way they regard JonMark as their full-blooded genetic brother is so insulting, because Jonna and I have done so much for those boys, and we do it again because we love them so much, but they have totally disregarded us, and it's all JonMark now. Like, JonMark's their favorite. JonMark this. Like, they talk to him the most. They text him. They call him. We can barely get a hold of these half the time.
Truly.
But like, if JonMark wasn't such a great guy, I would be pissed. I'm a little pissed, but JonMark is a great influence on them, so I'll let him have it.
He is. And now, you know, can't get a hold of Evan? Send in the big guns. JonMark
Smith.
Report for duty.
Literally, Evan picks up on the first ring. Hello. It's wild. But yeah, JonMark's great. It really does take a special man to come into the mix of a big, chaotic family, and then especially like a very close-knit sisterhood. And he's definitely learned, okay, sometimes he just has to let us spar it out. Like, he can't jump in the middle. He can't pick a side. He just has to let us do our sister thing. And it's great. He also has a brother and they're very close. So I think he understands the complexities of siblinghood and accepts us for who we are, which I really appreciate. So as we have talked up the two leading men in Jonna's life, JonMark and Jett, we have to get them in the mix. And we have to introduce the audience to them. So if you want to see how cute and adorable these boys are, head on over to the Let Me Be Fronk YouTube page. Okay, thank you. And thank you for being here. Everyone, please welcome to Let Me Be Fronk, JonMark Smith and Jett Smith. Hey, Jenny Spaghetti!
Jenny says hello.
Jenny!
He is distracted. He's reaching for
His favorite Kona
Kona.
came in the picture.
Aww.
Oh,
Jetty loves the papas.
That's the micro. Jett, who's that?
Hi,
Jetty.
Jetty. It's me. It's me, Auntie Liz.
Liz.
Hi, Bubba. Hi, Bubba.
It's like
Cutie patootie
reaching for the
boy.
microphone right now. Oh,
Yeah,
there he
he's
goes.
oh, thanks, Jet. Okay.
Thank you for saying hello.
Yes. More to come from Jett and JonMark. They're in the middle of bedtime routine. JonMark, thank you for holding it down so my sister could be available for this groundbreaking interview.
Absolutely. Say bye. Say I love you, Auntie Liz.
Bye. I love that boy. He is just the perfect addition to the family. Can't wait to make more gorgeous memories with my nephew this summer, coming soon. Thank you for sharing about your life so far, sister, and your son and your husband. Obviously, my sister is going to come on the show in the future, and I want you all to get to know Jonna because she's really so hilarious. She's being kind of shy this episode, truth be told, and she's being really professional, but she is such a silly goose. She makes me laugh harder than anyone I know. If you think I'm funny, like honestly, she gives me a run for my money all the time. So I actually wanted to flip the script on you first, sister. I'm going to ask you a few things I want you to be Fronk on, and you give me your Fronk opinion if that's okay.
I would love that. Are you Fronk and ready?
I'm Fronk and ready. Sister, I want you to be Fronk about what do you think of the show so far?
I think the show is lovely. My sister is such a great host. I think I would love to see some more interactive parts of the show and a little bit more of her like silly comedic side.
Work in progress, definitely working on it. I think that's absolutely fair criticism.
But I mean, she's doing great. She's doing great.
Thank you, sister. I'm just trying to make this family proud, uphold the Fronk name, you know? How do you feel about me using our last name in the show title?
It's about dang time it became a household name.
I agree. I mean, can we just, I know we're biased, but Fronk is kind of a legendary last name. I mean, just think about this. Like, if I was Alyssa Billings, that was my first Facebook name, shout out. Alyssa Fronk, that makes a name. Jonna Fronk, that is a strong name. If Fronk has become so much of our identity, we love our last name.
Fronk is so witty. My first social media handle was literally Fronkadonk. Iconic.
Okay, sister, what is your favorite and least favorite nickname of yours currently?
My least favorite nickname of all time would probably be Peggy Sue.
I was not even ever going to bring that up.
Or
in
the
public.
Hunchback of Wilmington.
When you are a kid who is a little bit of a bully to your sister, but you're also a natural born comedian, you come up with amazing nicknames. My sister, unfortunately, had a pretty bad bicycle accident. And she was riding her bike and she hit a rock and flew over the handlebars, bonking her head on the ground. And she had a well up here on her eyebrow and she looked like Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So me and our other siblings called her the Hunchback of Wilmington, which is so fucked up. But yeah, sorry about that, sister. Good times.
Yeah, you can probably see I have like a little lump on my face, like
Still?
right here that kind of sticks out a little more.
Sister, we were wrong. We were wrong, and that was a mean joke, and I'm so sorry. And sister, what would you say your favorite nickname is?
I mean, sister is such an endearing one.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's held on
That's not a
by
nickname, that's a
others.
title.
I would say probably Juicy would have to be the strongest one.
Yeah, I love calling you Juicy because you are so juicy. You're just a juicy girl. You have a juicy personality, a juicy persona, a juicy vibe, juicy fashion choices. You are juicy. And now, sister, I have to ask you the central question of the show, which is, Jonna Fronk Smith, what is something you would like to be Fronk about?
You know, this popped in my head earlier. What is the point of freezer dry candy? Like, have you ever tried it?
No.
Don't. I bought some from the farmer's market, and
What kind?
you know I'm a sour candy girl through and through. And they had freezer dry sour gummies, and then they had freezer dry nerd clusters. And it just tastes like a crunchy, like, air puff with some sourness to it. And then, you know that sticky feeling that Jolly Ranchers give your teeth?
Yeah.
That is, like, the feeling it gives you. I was so mad. I was like, you ruined all the good parts of a sour gummy worm.
I'm just in my head trying to figure out what's the point of freeze drying candy? What's the need there?
I feel like it only works out if you're, like, a crunchy, hard candy kind of person and you don't like the gumminess of something.
I mean, not to be controversial, but aren't nerd clusters already crunchy?
A little crunchy.
I'm gonna absolutely make you do another one because that was dry as your dry ass freeze candy, whatever it's called.
Why men don't have to change during a pregnancy?
Go there, sister. Go there.
I feel like if a woman has to sit there and physically grow a baby out of them, then push that baby out, then somehow their body has to get back to, and all their organs move and everything else. Like, why doesn't a man have to breastfeed? Why doesn't a man have to do some part of that? Like, why do they just get to, you know, plant the seed? They don't have to do anything.
You know,
Isn't that wild?
it is wild. I'm gonna have to get God on as a guest to answer the question of why this is. But no, it's definitely, there is a huge imbalance between just alone the anatomy of parenthood and rearing and creating and bringing a child into the world. And, you know, sister, earlier when you were talking about your pregnancy, you were being honest, but you were still being gentle. Let me be clear. This girl hated being pregnant. And don't get us wrong. She loves her son. She would do it all over again to get that sweet baby boy. She hated being pregnant because I call this girl every day and say, pregnant sister, how are you doing today? She goes, I hate being pregnant. Never do this, Alyssa. You'll kill yourself.
No, I was so sick. I was on 2 nausea medications. Everything was changing. And I was like, how do people do this and take care of other kids?
Is that a dog? Please welcome to Let Me Be Fronk. Who is this? Is this Stella or Kona?
This is
Is this Kona?
Kiwi.
Oh my gosh, Kona Kiwi Fronk, another Fronk girl icon. We have to talk about Kona. Tell the
Kona.
audience who Kona is.
Kona. Kona started off being a dog that was supposed to be for my mom in high school. We adopted her, and, you know, me and Kona just locked eyes, and we knew we were there for each other. And so Kona... So
Can you tell we're
Kona-
related? We talk the same.
Kona then became my dog, and she has been with me through every step of life, just through it all. We finished out high school together. I went to college, and she did stay behind a year or two, and let me tell you, that bitch hated it. She waited at the door. She would go on food strikes. She would not eat. She would not move.
She missed Jonna so much. It crushed her.
She would try to run away.
She did.
This girl even got herself a new owner for a week. She did.
She did. That's the story. Oh my God. No, but then Jonna picked her up and took her to college from junior year on, and she had, dare I say, the time of her life at college.
I picked her up halfway, I think, through my sophomore year. And then, like, the end of it, and then through the rest of college. And then Kona, let me tell you, she was Miss Popular on that campus. Everybody knew who Kona was. Sometimes people would know who she was and had no idea who I was, just walking
Jonna,
through.
People knew more about Kona than they knew about me. Your own sister. People, I would sometimes, because, you know, honestly, I've known Kona her entire life too. She loves Jonna. Jonna's her person, but she's a sweetheart, and she also loves all our members of the family. So she loves me too. And she, like, I would take her sometimes, and we would just kind of share her here and there, and I'd want to have her over for a sleepover, and I'd have her with me. And someone would be like, oh my God, isn't that Jonna's dog? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm Jonna's sister. And they're like, oh, like an AKO sister? And I'm like, no, bitch, I'm her blood sister. My name's Alyssa Fronk. You've never heard of me?
She lived it up. Kona loved college.
Kona moved to Charlotte with Jonna, and she has been fully your dog ever since.
Then we moved apartments, and she became a city girl when we lived up in the city. And she loved to sit on her balcony and watch all the people go by.
She did.
That girl was so prissy. I would take her out, I would walk her, and she would just keep walking. She would not want to be in the rain. She would take forever. Flash forward, we're in a house, me and JonMark, married, we have Kona, we now have a few more dogs. This girl won't come inside. She's laying in the grass, laying in the rain, just being a little country girl.
She is a full country girl now. She loves sunbathing. It doesn't matter if it's 96 degrees outside. That girl is in the middle of the sun, getting her hair even more blonde. She actually never used to be this blonde. We'll show the genesis of Kona's looks, but yeah, Kona's an icon. Everyone who has ever been in our life basically knows her and loves her, and she has the best temperament and personality of all time. She's such a sweet girl.
She's an icon. She's
How old
a
is
legend.
Kona now?
Kona will be turning 13 in September.
Yes.
So, in the last year, things have been a little difficult with her health, and, you know, we knew, because she is part German Shepherd, that the life expectancy is, you know, usually, like, if you get to 12 years, it's great. We had one that got to 14, and that was, like, amazing that she lived that far. She started having some issues, having trouble standing up, and just getting a little more hard of hearing and harder to move around, and she got on a bunch of medication, and then we ended up finding out that she had cancer. And so about a year ago, we got the news, and we didn't really know how much longer we've had, but this girl is still kicking. I remember crying, being so upset. When I think about not having this dog with me, I am brought to tears, and I just don't even want to think about not having her with me, because
that is going to be a hideous day when this sweet baby angel leaves the earth.
She is the best. I love her so much. She has gotten me through so many dark times, so many happy times. I just remember she loves babies. She loves kids. To be able to be here when I have a kid, I didn't know she would do it, and she did. And she loves Jett, and Jett loves her, and he lights up and just smiles and laughs anytime she's around. And then she'll come over, just try to lick him to death, give him a little bath, and they love each other. And I'm so glad that they got to both be here together. And now here we are. I think Kona is in her 7th house. 7th. This girl has moved 7 times.
She has had a long life for a dog.
A long life. And she's just kicking it. She's enjoying.
She's great. Like, she's still in great spirits. She's, like, for her age and all of her ailments, she's doing amazing.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Yeah, so I'll never forget the day Jonna called me to tell me Kona had cancer. She was sobbing, and just, like, all I wanted was for Kona to meet my kid. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but This girl said, I'm not going anywhere, and she stuck around, and her and Jett have met, like Jonna said, and they love each other. They have the most special, adorable, cutie patootie bond. I'm definitely going to put some videos in the YouTube version of this episode so you guys can see. I am so happy, sister, that you got to see this come full circle.
I am too.
And that she's still here.
I was scared with the move. I wasn't sure like how she was going to take it and everything, but here she is, just loving being in Wilmington, even though last time you were here you just kept running away. But
I think her running away days are over. I think she's content.
She is content. This girl wouldn't run. She would maybe run.
She would never leave Jett.
She'd run for some fried chicken, but that's about it.
She would. Yeah, that's the only thing that can make her move fast these days. This girl loves to eat.
She does. A pup cup.
So for all the longtime friends of the Fronk sisters and Konakiwi Fronk Smith, she's still kicking. She's still here. Thank God. We don't know how much longer we have with her, but we're going to cherish every single second and day. And if you do have the opportunity to see Kona, I would say go see her because she is an old lady.
See her, give her the love. You know, she still loves it. She wants all the attention. She knows she's the boss. She's the head of the household. And
long live Kona.
Long live Kona.
Sister, you have been an incredible guest on this episode today. I mean, we could obviously talk for hours and hours and hours, and I'm not going to subject my video editor, my producer, or the audience to it all. But I'm just going to have you back on the podcast. But I wanted everyone to know you, know who Jonna is, and why you're so important to me, and kind of set up our sister dynamic so that next time you're on, we can kind of just shoot the shit more and jump right into it. But again, thank you for making the time. I know you're a very busy in demand lady these days and also pretty tired. So I really, really appreciate you doing this. And it was so fun. And I always love talking to my sister. You've been a source of huge support. You've let me bounce ideas off of you. You've given me incredible ideas. So thank you so much, sister, for being one of my biggest cheerleaders. And I just love you so much.
Sister, I will always be your biggest fan, your biggest cheerleader. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so honored you let me just come yap my trap and
Anytime.
Be on your show.
Sister, it's an open invite. Anytime you want to come, yap your trap, get the hell on over here. And one day we're going to have you on in person at the Let Me Be Fronk studios. Soon, hopefully.
I feel like we've done the audience a disservice by not, getting to experience the two of us together in one room. You just
honestly,
wait.
this feels like a watered down version of who we are when we're together. So when we are IRL together for the show, it's on. Y'all don't even know.
Buckle up.
Sister, if people want to connect or keep up with you, where can they do that?
You can find me on Instagram, on Parmigiana. And
can you spell that?
Parmajonna.
Your personality is larger than life, and you have so many amazing, unique skills, talents, gifts. Sister, thank you so much for being here. So like she said, you can follow her on Parmigiana on Instagram or TikTok. I will have her on again in the future. If you have tuned in on YouTube or Spotify, thank you so much for being here and supporting the show. Again, this is Let Me Be Fronk. New episodes drop every Wednesday on Spotify and YouTube. Please make sure you're subscribed to one or the other or both. We're also on Instagram at Let Me Be Fronk Show. I am your host, Alyssa Fronk. You can follow me, Alyssa Fronk, on all social medias as well. Again, thank you so much for being here, and tune in next week for another exciting edition. Bye.
Toodaloo.